Bali is one of the biggest hotspots for digital nomads and entrepreneurs. You'll see people working at cafes, working on the beach, living what seems like the dream life. We've actually been here for about a month. We've been traveling for about 2 years now. I wanted to know exactly what these digital nomads are doing for a living. So we actually hit the streets and asked digital nomads and entrepreneurs exactly what they're doing to make a living in Bali. So let's get right into it. What's your name, age, and where are you from?
So my name is RJ Macalanda. I'm 30 years old and I've been a nomad for about 10 years now, originally from Dallas, Texas.
So what do you do for a living?
So I travel and fish for a living. I'm a fishing influencer, I'm a business consultant for the fishing industry, and I also own a marketing agency.
Okay, how did you get started with everything?
Well, it started where I was tired of my job. I was working like 60 or 80 hours a week in a corporate office, and I just looked at my life and I said, what do I actually want to do? Not be stuck in a cubicle all day, but I really gave it a good thought and I said, I think I want to travel and fish for a living, and I'm going to try to make it work as best as I could.
And how much do you make with this? So
last year I cleared about 6 figures. So it depends on which income stream, but for my main, which is marketing, cleared 100,000 for that. And then I charge about 2.5K now per video for shorts. And then I've got various projects here and there, so it just kind of depends on the month. Yeah.
So one is like you're doing marketing, or are you doing marketing for clients, or what does that look like?
Fish Boss is my brand, and I wanted to show people how to start a business from scratch, doing what you love. So started a fishing business and then started posting on TikTok. Then I started selling how I did that to the fishing industry. And then that just kind of elevated over time from like group coaching to solo clients to really big clients. And then now I'm branching out, working with innovators, CEOs, and if you just have a really cool product, then I help them promote it on social.
What was your way of like getting clients? Were you reaching out or they found you?
And I actually went offline for stuff. So I would go in person to like expos, events, industry events, and then shake hands. And that's how I was able to close deals, because those guys are crushing it offline, but they're not doing well online. So that's where I bridged that gap.
What advice do you have for people who want to start like what you did? And how do you get clients and stuff like that?
So I wouldn't recommend to just jump into the fishing industry if you just want to make money. I would actually follow your passions first. You can take the entire model, but do it in an industry that you're really passionate about. I can't say that you can really follow my path exactly, but I would recommend that if somebody's passionate about something, just start posting on TikTok or something that I'm not even like somebody that wants to get on camera all the time. It's just that TikTok's the place to be right now. You can make good money like on the platforms from the creator funds and stuff. You can make it from brand deals, but the biggest money maker is take your skills that you're good at in a corporate scenario, plug it into the industry that you love, and then you can make money from combining both together.
Cool. And what's your advice for aspiring digital nomad?
Follow your heart, man. So I feel like back when I'm in Texas, it's like my friends, my family, they don't really, understand how I live. But when you come to a place like Bali or Thailand or wherever, you're surrounded by people that, understand it, they get it. So surround yourself with people that actually do it, and try to learn from them and try to really absorb what they're doing, because there's good stuff online, but when you're physically there and you're like, man, they exist, like they're really there. You actually have to go in person and sip coconuts with them to really like feel like, oh, I can do this too, I think. Yeah, so just go out and do it.
What's your name, age, and where are you from?
My name is Tom Spark. I'm 30 years old and I'm from Cyprus.
What do you do for a living?
We scale businesses using content and sales system. We help online businesses, coaches, consultants, agencies as well. We help them with content systems, sales systems, and also delivery systems. And then we initially help them scale from kind of like up to 6 figures, then 7 figures, and kind of like beyond. And we just show them what we do, and we have a very matter of fact approach to it.
When did you start this? Did you start this business? Or?
So I started it, I joined with my friend Darren. So I had a background running education and info businesses, first in the music industry, and then more in the kind of B2B space as well. And then my friend Darren had an agency and wanted to build out an education info side to the business, and that's when we came together.
How is the business doing in terms of revenue?
Yeah, so it's doing about $250,000 a month at the moment, and we're looking to scale to $1 million a month within the next 6 months.
Cool. And what are the profit margins on that?
Profit margins on the agency side of things, it's about 65% because there's more complexity there. You have editors, you have CSMs, you have some contractors come in, but on the info side, the margins are around 95-94% because you're just selling knowledge, and it's very, very scalable. The only costs are commission for sales reps and setters, and then software.
When you got started, what was like the biggest thing that really drove the success of the business?
The biggest driver of success is always belief. It's always belief. No matter what industry you're in, you're selling belief. The job of the sales call or the job of your content, that is to help people believe that they can achieve what you know they can achieve. So you need to have belief in yourself if you're going to transfer that to others. So I always say the biggest thing is build that belief in yourself. Grinding, that can be through, just dedicating to one thing, but whatever it is, build that sense of belief in yourself.
When you were building your client base, were you doing mostly, I don't know, like in-person networking or, email, paid ads? Like, what was that looking like? Instagram
is the best business card in the world. Doesn't matter if you've only got 500 followers. If you're putting yourself out there earnestly and you're showing your value, your skills, your expertise, and just your interests, you will attract people. You will attract people who see your value.
Is it through your podcast?
Through the podcast, that's a huge aspect of it now as well, but initially it was just through Instagram, yeah.
Okay, so like when you say through Instagram, was it through video?
Video writing initially, I just used to write and then post that on Instagram. Then I'd post stories, I'd showcase some of the travel, and then when people know where you are, they know what you're about, they want to connect with you. When you go to a city, you meet one person, they introduce you to 3 more, who introduce you to someone else you end up doing business with, you get good results for. It all came from that core of putting yourself out there first.
So it was like mostly organic, not paid ads?
Yeah, nearly all organic, yeah.
So do you have any, last tips for anyone who wants to kind of get to where you are?
So have a clear vision, have some sort of vision. You need to know what you're going to say no to. So have a clear vision, spend some time writing it out. Don't get obsessed over it. Just get an idea of where you'd like to be, not just externally how your life looks, but also like internally, how do I want to feel with what I'm building? Get clear on that, write it out, read it every morning, and then when you make decisions throughout the day, you know what to say yes to and you know what to say no to. And like one of the things that happens as you walk this path is that lots of opportunities present themselves, but really like the most important thing is focus on your vision, what you're trying to create, and then you know what to say no to.
Can you tell me your name, age, and where you're from?
Yeah, so my name is Anthony, I'm 30 and I'm from California, USA.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm a developer.
So how long have you been a digital nomad?
I would say for a good, probably like 2 years on and off.
Do you recommend being a developer as a digital nomad?
I definitely recommend it. The pay is really well, especially if you're working stateside for a US or like a Western country. And yeah, the pay is relatively nice for a career.
How did you start coding?
I started coding from going to a coding bootcamp. So one thing that I want to actually share with like a lot of people or like people like me who were hesitant to get into development, it's not as mathy as I thought it would be. But then after when I went to the coding bootcamp, I learned that it's more like language learning and a lot of reading, which is something that a philosophy major like really helped me like get accustomed to because it's just a lot of reading and writing. Yeah, so I definitely recommend that route.
Do you feel like nowadays it's harder to get a job after a coding bootcamp? Because I know I actually thought about doing that in the past, and then I think it started getting harder and harder to get a job.
Yeah, so I think the market for developers was really hot during COVID, so 2019 to 2021, because everyone was going online, all the businesses are moving online. But after that, it seemed like a lot of companies started scaling back and there were like a lot of rounds of layoffs. Because of that, during like that time when there was so much hiring, there's such a it's so saturated right now with bootcamp grads where I think it's very hard to stand out. But I still think if you're able to stand out as a bootcamp grad, there's still a lot of opportunities. Because like right now, there's like the whole AI craze and stuff like that. And a lot of people are worried about like AI taking over jobs, but you'll still need developers to like do like AI related development or just other roles. But it is a little challenging right now.
How much did you pay for the bootcamp?
I paid like 10K or like 12K.
Was it remote?
There's a remote option, but I wanted to go in person because I'd be more invested and have like skin in the game and more camaraderie with people.
Okay, and do they like guarantee like get a job?
I mean, to be honest, like all coding bootcamps like have some marketing tactic where they say like, oh, guarantee like 100% job placement. But I think that's just marketing and it's not completely true. I think the coding bootcamps are completely honest. Like, not everyone's a good fit for development. Like, you could get through the coding bootcamp itself, but to actually like land a job and become a person that's able to secure a position after the coding bootcamp, like, you're gonna have to grind, you're gonna have to figure things out on your own. No one's gonna hold your hand after the bootcamp. So like during the bootcamp, there's like a lot of hand holding, a lot of structure. When you're looking for the job, like, you still need to keep learning new tools. For my first job, I applied 238 times and I got rejected. Like, and I only got one interview, and that took me like 3 months. So after that, I was only working for that company for like 6 months. That's when like the layoffs started happening for like a lot of people in tech.
Okay, but the first job, was it 3 months after the boot camp ended? You were able to land one?
Yeah, and even then that was like a special scenario because right after the boot camp, I got an internship from one of my college friends.
With your jobs, do you mind if I ask, like, how much were you making?
So my first main job, I got paid 70K, and then now the primary, the place I'm working at, I'm getting like 80K. A lot of junior devs that I've talked to, they start at around like 60, 65. So starting at like 73 and like 80 is like pretty nice.
How much do you think you need to like make a living while you're a digital nomad?
Depends on your lifestyle, right? So for me, my lifestyle is pretty like chill. I don't do nightlife, and now I'm just like living here like a normal person. 800, like 750 to like 1,500. You could live like very, very comfortably. I was paying more because it was Airbnb, but if you get like an actual like apartment that you're renting long term, it'll be way cheaper too.
So do you recommend being a digital nomad, and like, what are the pros and cons?
Yeah, I 100% advocate for being a digital nomad if you have the option to, or like somehow make it happen, because I was paying like just $1,000 for rent in LA in a shared like house, right? So that was just for like a room, $1,000 just for that, versus now I'm living in like my own place, like have to share anything. And then that's not including like food, gas, all the other things that I need to do, which ended up being like $800 on top of that, right? So I'd spend like 1,800 stateside versus here. I get all of that. I get to eat out. I get to like network. I get to do all the fun stuff, touristy stuff, for like significantly less or like about the same amount, right? So the quality of life is just like so much better.
So what are your last like tips for someone who's trying to get a job to become a digital nomad? Like, how would you go about getting remote work?
That's a very great question, and that's actually something that I'm trying to figure out as well, because I'm so specialized as a developer that I've only mainly looked at like development related jobs. And the thing about that is, if you're a developer outside of the US, you don't get paid as much, because I've looked at other markets like in Europe or like in Asia, and you get paid significantly less. If you could get the US salary, like, you should go for the US salary instead. But I know that there's like digital marketing positions, or like social media management. Remote sales is something that I'm seeing a lot online recently, video editors. So I think anything that's related to like tech, or just look for like remote jobs, that's what I would do, and then develop one of those skills.
What's your name, age, and where are you from?
So my name is Julia. I'm 29 years old. You're at my birthday earlier. And I'm originally from the States, although my mom is from China, but I'm born and raised in the States.
And what do you do for a living?
I built a personal brand around being a software developer and a Muay Thai fighter. And then I got really good at social media through promoting the fact that I was a programmer. In my early 20s, I started becoming a social media manager freelancer, where I was helping businesses build up their socials.
So what's your social media account, and what's your follower account right now?
Yes, so my social media account is Fight Nomad Julia, and we're currently, I think we're around 320,000 followers. And I've built up my following, my audience, through creating content around martial arts.
What kind of clients do you have?
We have like boxing gyms as clients. We've had boxing coaches. We've had currently we have we've had fight apparel brands. Currently, we were working with a fight apparel brand who's doing a camp like for grappling here in Bali. And so I'm helping them with that. A lot of our clients, it's either been through my personal socials that we've gotten them, and because like my niche is martial arts, sometimes it's like related to martial arts, or sometimes our client is just someone who likes martial arts, but then their business is with another like domain. So then they hire us because they know that I do social media management.
What advice do you have for people who are just trying to like grow their accounts?
When people ask me that, I also want to push back and be like, what is it that you really want? Do you want to make more money? If you want to make more money, focusing on the follower count might not necessarily make you more money. There's also other factors as well. And like I know plenty of creators or entrepreneurs who have very small followings, but they know how to monetize very well. Even if they have a small follower account, they know how to convert that into money. So I think also like, what do you want to become famous for? Because for example, as a girl, if you want to gain a lot of followers and you just post a bunch of bikini photos, you might gain a lot of followers, but then they'll only know you for your sexuality too. There's a lot of self-inquiry that you want to do as well as to be like, what do you want to be known for?
Any last advice for anyone who wants to start like a social media agency?
I would say learning how to outsource and learning how to delegate is like something that I wish I learned a lot earlier, because like I think I was raised to try to do everything by myself. And realizing, which seems obvious now, is just like as a team together, you guys can accomplish so much more. If you have different people who specialize in different areas, I think what you can come together to create is so much more powerful than one person.
What's your name, age, and where you're from?
Right, my name is Lou Antonio. I am 33 and I'm from the UK.
What brought you to Bali?
I've always had a calling to come to Bali, so I grew up in the northeast of England.
So you mentioned you have like everything in this villa. So
Yeah.
how much do you pay for this villa?
So I pay for this villa in full. So this for the year is about 55k, 55
And you have
US.
like roommates, right?
Yeah, and then I rent the rooms out to two of my friends.
Oh, do you own this villa? Or?
No, so I just
Okay.
buy the lease on it for the year.
Okay,
That
got
makes
it.
sense. And then I sublet the
Okay.
rooms.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what do you do for a living?
So I am a fully fledged e-com entrepreneur. I've been in e-com for 10 years. I started and scaled my own supplement brand. Started in 2015, launched, didn't have a clue what I was doing, didn't even know what an entrepreneur was. Battled against everything to try and make it work, finding my way in the dark. Finally managed to get that to work. Then I started another brand with a family member, a golf brand that rocketed 1.5 mil first year, just ran out of a garage. And then I started consulting for other e-com brands, so helping them do exactly the same. Because it took me so long to get started, I had no money, no experience, no leverage, didn't have a clue. I was in debt as well. Like I was probably in about 30k consumer debt when I got started. So I couldn't afford to hire staff members or mentors.
If you're comfortable sharing, like how much is that brand doing now?
We just did about 200k a month.
Okay, 200K a month, and then
Yeah, that's pounds.
200, that's
So it's
amazing.
like
Okay,
350.
and then your current agency,
Yeah.
how is that doing?
So agency is new for me. So I've pivoted into, so I did like growth partnering, where I'd come and I would directly do the work for brands. So I have guys working beneath me doing Facebook ads, Google ads, email marketing side of things.
So when you built your first brand, what do you think was like the biggest thing that you had to do that contributed to the success of it?
So my first nutrition brand, the biggest thing I had to do, I think it's just understanding sales and marketing. If you can learn one meta skill that applies to pretty much everything, it's human psychology and how to sell anything to anyone. In terms of like, you will never go hungry. If you can sell something, like think about it, which company in the world does not want to make more sales? They don't, right? It all keeps everything moving. So if you can do that and you can be a force multiplier, like I think that's the biggest thing. But then applying that to something specific within a niche, thoroughly understanding more about your target market or customer than they know about themselves.
So when you are doing the marketing, is it mainly like which channel is producing the most income? You'd say like email or a sales team or like.
So specifically for e-com, I've built pretty much my empire on Facebook ads, so Meta, so Facebook, Instagram. And then the lower hanging fruit is Google ads, but it's all social media marketing. That's the thing. Well, think about it. Where does everyone spend a disproportionate amount of their time? On their phone. So you need to be in front of them on the right medium. Revenue-wise, between 40 and 60% of revenue every month comes from email marketing. And this is something, if you're getting into e-com, everyone sleeps on email marketing. Massive opportunity cost by...
Actually, clarifying for that second brand, so how much is it profit from that, the amount that you mentioned earlier?
So we work on a gross 65%. End of the day, I think the last financial year we did in profit, I think it was about just shy of 600k.
And then do you have any last like tips for anyone who wants to build like a 7-figure business?
Yes, start small and scale. There's a sequence to doing things, and I don't think there's a straight line. And where I went wrong, and the biggest mistake I made, is I didn't hire a mentor. I didn't have good people around me. I didn't understand side of things. If you don't have good people around or someone to learn from, and I don't mean you need to like hire a billionaire, just hire someone 1 or 2 steps ahead of you. And just think about how you can leverage that relationship. Other second biggest regret, not documenting the journey step by step.
Okay.
Do that personal brand, invest in personal brand. If you're getting into e-com, sounds stupid, but you must be a founder-led brand. If you want a strategic point of differentiation in a competitive market, be a founder-led brand. People buy from people, not from faceless brands and entities. That's the key. And then again, this is something that will compound over time and then allow you to kind of branch out.
So what's your age, name, and where are you from?
My age is 47. I'm from San Francisco. My name is George Garcia.
So what do you do for a living?
So, I am an anti-fraud, anti-money laundering consultant in technology, specifically in the financial technology space. I'm also a professional investor and a photographer.
How did you get into that?
Anti-fraud, anti-money laundering, I kind of just fell into it. I'm actually computer science based on my major in college.
So you can do all of this remotely, right?
I can do everything remotely. I'm just at my computer for most of the day.
Okay, and are you working like US hours or what does that look like?
I'm kind of all over the place. I get consulting gigs, sometimes in Asia. I've had them in Latin America, in the US.
How long have you been like traveling?
A year and a half now, almost 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I left San Francisco in July 2023.
Okay, I mean, so why did you leave and decide like Bali, or are you going to be here long term?
Yeah, I actually have a place in Bali now, so I'll be here probably long term.
And for someone who wants to get a remote job, like how would you recommend doing that?
I recommend just taking whatever experience that you have and trying to figure out how you can apply it to a remote job. I didn't think I could do this job remotely for a very long time. I was managing people for a long time, had to be in an office. I think ever since COVID, it's been a little bit easier to break away from that norm. But yeah, definitely figure out whatever you have a skill in, have a skill set, apply it to something that can be done remotely, and then just go for it. And then if you can't, there's remote job boards online. You could teach people how to speak English. You could teach people how to do whatever. I'm a photographer also, so sometimes I get a paid gig doing the photography thing, and that's kind of fun, like as a side hobby. But that, you do that full time, you can make a good living.
So are you going to continue like full time on like your work, or are you trying to be a photographer, or like what does that look like?
Oh no, like the majority of my time is spent in the investing world right now. Getting back into consulting, I've been on a little bit of a break since I've been traveling and kind of figuring out what's going to happen. But now that I'm a little bit more settled, it's easier for me to stick with the consulting.
Got it. And when you say investing, what are you investing in?
I do real estate. I'm a angel investor, so I do like early stage private company investments as well. Yeah.
How did you get into that?
I had a buddy, a CEO of a company, a founder of a company, who ended up introducing me to that world. I was always kind of interested, and then I met this guy who kind of taught me the ropes.
I mean, that's interesting because do you feel like a lot of these opportunities come from the networking you've done, and like you've just like met a lot of these people that gave you these opportunities? How did that happen?
Oh yeah, I think networking is so important. Mm-hmm. Even if it's something that's kind of out of your world, I think that's even more important. Kind of break away from the norms, learn about things that you're just not familiar with, and research, educate yourself.
So any last advice for aspiring digital nomads?
A lot of people have been asking me this lately, and there's a lot of little intricacies. I say, don't worry about the little things too much. Just get out there. Plan to spend a month in every country or less, and just get out there and try it out and see if you can, if you can do your job remotely. If you can't, no big deal. Just go back home. But if you can, you kind of get addicted to it.
So there you have it. Real stories from digital nomads and entrepreneurs actually making a living out here in Bali. As you can see, there's no one size fits all. We talked to many different types of freelancers, to coders, to entrepreneurs, to remote workers. Bali really attracts all different types of people from all around the world. If you're interested in doing this remote lifestyle, drop in the comments below what type of remote work you would do. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell button to be notified of my latest videos. I'll see you guys in the next one.